All right, everybody. So I know it's been a while since I've made a post, and man, I apologize, but life has just gotten in the way the last couple months, and unfortunately, that means that projects get put on hold, which I'm sure everybody that's watching this has had some kind of experience with, and if not, you're one of the very few lucky ones. So I'm gonna do just a quick video, and we're gonna go over a few things. And I've only been in the shop a handful of times since my last video. And basically I'm gonna go over what has changed on the truck and where we are as far as how close we are from firing it up for the first time. And I've also got a surprise that I'm going to show everybody at the end of the video to show that we are going to keep this YouTube channel alive. And I'm excited to show y'all what I got. So let's get over to the truck and we'll see what small changes have been made and what small updates there are, and we'll go from there. I'll start with the engine side. Engine side, I'm making a few small changes as far as engine goes, but one of them is previously I had my billet valve coverage, which I still have on this side. I haven't had time to swap it back out. I'm going back to the original factory size, and this is actually a 5.7 valve cover. I do have my 6.4s over there in the corner, but I was using this another day to test. But the dipstick I have, it only bolts up if I'm using a factory valve cover, and it doesn't line up. I need like a 1/2-inch spacer for my billet valve cover, and I don't really care to do that. Other than that, since the last time, I've gotten quite a few more things buttoned up as far as wiring goes. I have found a upper radiator hose that I ended up having to cut and shorten, and I've got my fuel line started. I'm almost done with it, but I just have a couple more connections to do on that. I was trying to figure out my bottom hose, kind of have a hodgepodge of stuff here, but I am going to go back with this part number, but I'm going to have to get another one because I cut it a little too short and the mouth of it's not long enough or big enough. And I'm going to have to take off my 45-degree angle oil filter adapter and do a relocation kit, because the way that the hose is versus where it is actually on the radiator, it's going to hit it. So redoing all of that. That's going to be the only major change I'm going to have to do. But other than that, I don't know if I showed that I had long tube headers in the last video or not, but I got some long tube headers for it. I wanted to make sure I had the sound that I wanted, and I think that's about it on the engine side. All of these just need to be trimmed and tucked back and wire loomed, and I think that's it, other than just my alternator wiring, and I've got to do some power steering lines. Other than that, the engine's ready to fire as far as it goes up here. All right, as far as it goes on the inside, I know it kind of looks crazy in here still, but the only thing that I've really got left in here is I need to wire my dome light, which the wires are right here, and my cruise control module finally came in. I had to find one that was going to work with the drive-by-wire module, so I finally found one. And if you need any information on that, just let me know and I can get you into the right hands of who to get. But other than that, that's the only real wiring on the inside I have left. I've got to do my constant power, and then these right here are going to be just small connections here and there for different connections. These are just going to be plug and play connections from the actual controls of the wiring for the cruise control. But other than that, everything's pretty buttoned up. Back here, all my wires are finished up. The only thing I got to do is make my positive battery cable to the battery, and then I need to make one from the alternator, and then it'll have power for the first time. And then I want to make a couple extra grounds just to be safe. Everything else inside of here is all buttoned up. I'll just have to loom everything and get zip ties where they need to be and keep everything out of the way of any kind of damage. I've got a surprise for you guys that I mentioned, and Man, this is a car that I've wanted and a style of vehicle that I've wanted for my entire life. I've always wanted to build a traditional hot rod. Those of you that are my friend on Facebook or follow my Facebook, you've probably already seen this car, but it is a car that I've been trying to get for nearly a year now. And the previous owner of this car was extremely patient with me. I don't have a lot of time to do things and try to get up places and look at things and whatnot, but this car came all the way from Colorado, and I got it this past week, finally. But for those of you that know me, I've always been into cars, and sorry, that car is right here and I keep looking at it. But I've always wanted to build a true blue traditional hot rod. And I finally have the perfect car to do it for me. As a lot of you know, I had the Pentastars tattooed on both of my elbows. So I'm big into Mopar, but I like a little bit of everything. I've owned a little bit of everything, but when it comes down to it, 9 times out of 10, when I buy something, it's gonna be a Dodge or a Chrysler product in general. So when I thought about a true blue hot rod, I wanted to build a Dodge or a Plymouth. I couldn't bring myself to build a Model A or anything like that. I couldn't do a Chevrolet two-door or whatever. I just could not do it. Every time I'd find one for a good price, I was like, I was very tempted to buy a few of them a couple different times over the years, and just wasn't happy that, it wasn't gonna be a Dodge. It just wasn't me. So I wasn't gonna spend the money on it if I wasn't gonna be happy with it. So I'm gonna turn this camera around in just a second. I'm gonna walk you around this car. Now this car sits really high in the back right now because it has a temporary rear end underneath it so we could get it from Colorado to here. That rear end all the leaf perches will be cut off of it. There will be a triangular link or a 4-link suspension that I'm gonna build custom for this thing in this. I'm gonna do all custom heim joints, all custom trailing arms, everything. And it's gonna sit completely level all the way across. My buddy that I bought it from, he did some pretty decent fabrication as far as a couple filler panels and some floor pans and a little bit of the chassis work. He did a great job, but it didn't go too far to where it's gonna be too much design the way he wanted it. It has just enough work done to it to where I can bring this thing to the finish line of where I want it. And where I want it may not be where everybody does, but that's hot rodding. But that being said, it has a lot of very good parts, a lot of very hard parts to find. And whenever I start talking about this car, I'm gonna start putting a couple feelers out there for a few things that I am looking for. One is gonna be a hood assembly, and 2 is gonna be a trunk lid. He already started building a custom trunk lid to this. I'm gonna have to rework it just a little bit. It doesn't fit exactly how I want it to, because on this body, it doesn't just have a nice rounded hump on the back of it. It's also contoured, left to right, not just top to bottom. So that being said, let me get this thing turned around and let me guys show you what I got. And if you're a true hot rodder, a true car guy, car girl, whatever, you'll see what I'm seeing when I see this car. You're not just gonna see the old rusty looking body, and you're not gonna see all that. You're gonna see what I truly see. You see a finished product of what it can be and what it should be. And let me shut up and let me show you. I'm gonna start in the back because it kind of teases everybody. But this thing is so wide compared to a Ford or a Chevrolet that it's nuts. But this is the trunk lid that he already started working. So it has a nice contour here, but it needs to have a contour left to right. It has a little bit, but it just needs to be a little bit better. But the car is fairly solid. All of this is pretty solid on this side, but when we get to this side, it's kind of ripped up and rusted a little bit, but that's okay. Now, I know the axle's not centered in the wheel well, That's because it's temporary, and it's already got a couple filler panels in here to be clearance, so this thing can be down, 6 inches lower than it actually is. But it's got brand new billet aluminum forged weld racing wheels all the way around already, which are pretty slick. I may eventually go wide wheels in the back, and maybe even a good set of wide wheels in the front. Don't know just yet, but it was a canopy top. And for those that don't know, Dodge did not have wood internals on these in 1930. This is a 1930 model. It is all metal structure. Does already have a set of suicide hinges already started. Not anywhere near finished, but they are started. And I will be finishing that. This car will have suicides on it. But it's got a pretty decent little setup for floor, trans tunnel, and uncut dash. I'm going to leave that uncut. I will not mess with that at all. It is chopped, which is exactly what I wanted it to be. It has the look that I want. So it was a great car to just start with. This door jamb has not been messed with yet, so I get to mimic that suicide door setup on this side. Now, everything is pretty decent. Looks like the factory holes are all pretty good, except for this one. Looks like it has a little bit of a rip in it. But it's got a custom firewall in it, custom frame underneath it. I've got 2 grill surrounds. Got another one over here next to the doors. It's got a drop axle already on it. 6-piston Wilwoods, which if you know me, I'm a big Wilwood guy, big 6-piston. But this thing sits really nice. And if you saw earlier in this video, you noticed that I took the billet valve covers off of the 6.4, put them on this one. This is why. This is going to be an open motor concept. So I wanted the 6.4, the valve covers off of it that were nice and pretty. And these are also the little shorties that I had on that 6.4 at one point. But I am a big believer in making stuff traditional in certain ways, but I'm also okay with going modern in certain ways. I wanted to do modern and do a modern engine for reliability, power, anything like that. But I also want a tradition with a set of stacks. I love stacks. I think they're badass. I don't think you get any more hot rod than that. But this is a 5.7. Came out of a 2019 Dodge Charger. And it does have an automatic transmission in it right now. Still subject to change. I don't know just yet. I kind of want to keep the pedal situation really clean and simple. So I might just leave that, but who knows. I'm a real big manual guy, but I kind of want this to be a cool cruiser. Just be able to get it go. It will have AC. So, but I'm going to leave all the factory front pulleys on it for now. That might be subject to change. Heck, I might take the Holley setup off the 6.4 and throw it on here if it'll fit. I've been known to do things like that. But it's already got a nice little radiator built for it. It's got Hellcat injectors in it. I will be doing a cam swap on this. This was an MDS motor because it is an automatic. So I'll be doing a mild cam in this one. Probably not as radical as the 6.4 in the truck behind me, but I will do that so I can get rid of those prone to fail lifters. Everybody that knows Hemis, they got the Hemi tick because of that. But I'll do a small Hemi cam setup in this thing, and that'll all be on video for you guys, and go from there and put a little bit of a limiter in the DVT gear and whatnot. But all that will be videoed. But again, this thing is gonna be pretty rad when it's done. But got a couple boxes of parts here, trunks full of parts. This is a Resto Mod Air. It's a super small, compact AC unit. And all of that is gonna go into this little frame that's underneath here. And I'll probably hang my pedals from this frame as well. It's just tacked in place for now, so it definitely needs to be more reinforced, but that's gonna happen. And then Obviously, my trans tunnel needs to be finished, welded up and grinded and all that, but he gave me a good place to start. You know, I still got to make a duplicate panel like that for this side. You know, still need panels to block everything off and go to the frame. Chop is almost complete. It's still got some pieces in here, but I'll get my TIG welder out and TIG weld all that stuff up. But he just welded a couple tabs here for transport, but the lid will raise up. I may open it up here, we can look. So the fuel cell is going to be there. It's already boxed inside of here for the axle and all of that. Got the original headlight buckets back in there. And for you that know about the Dodge Brothers, I do have the original taillight lenses and headlight lenses to this thing showing Dodge Brothers, uncracked and all. And I also have some of the grill shell emblems as well. But I think this thing's gonna be killer. I don't think you get any more badass looking than that right there. I don't think a Ford or Chevy could ever look like that, but show me what you got. Maybe I'll change my mind, but pretty biased, I guess. But this car doesn't get started really until the truck is done. And that way I can be able to go get parts and have a nice parts truck and shop truck to kind of run around and grab stuff. But the opportunity arose and we were finally able to make a deal on this thing, so kind of had to take it. And called my wife right after I bought it. I was like, babe, I kind of accidentally bought a car today, so don't be mad. And she kind of laughed at me and said, I don't know how you've accidentally bought a car, but okay. But man, I'm pretty stoked, so I hope you guys are too to see this thing. All right, hope y'all are excited to see this truck have a little bit of progress. I know it's been a little while and kind of slacked off a little bit, if you would, but life happens. You know, kids come first, wife comes first, job comes first. And, you know, my daughter's birthday is today. She turned 2 years old. So we were in Dallas, Texas all weekend, having fun with her at the American Girl doll stool and stuff. So it was a good time. So another day, another week. And, you know, maybe we'll try to get out here and get some wiring done on this truck this week and get this thing fired up and finish up the fuel cell and fuel lines for it. And I'm ready to hear this thing rumble. I think that'll motivate me to get this thing done. But again, I hope you guys are still with me. Sorry I haven't posted very much, but again, you know, life comes before YouTube, and whenever life allows, YouTube is there. So here we are. Like, comment, and share. And if you guys have any questions about the truck, about what I've used for it, any parts, or any ideas for the 30, shoot them over. I'm all down for ideas for the 30, especially whenever it comes to steering setups on these things. That's gonna be the big challenge. I don't know if I wanna do a through the firewall setup or if I wanna do a external setup on the side of the cow. I know some people have seen that. I think those are kind of rad, but man, it's a pain in the butt to try to find anything to do that with anymore. So give me a shout. Let me know what you think, and we'll keep going. But one of these days we'll get to that Riviera back there. That's gonna be my daughter's first car. But like I said, like, comment, share, see what happens. Thanks.